The air was unnervingly still that morning, as if the world itself was holding its breath. In the bustling streets of cities across China and neighbouring countries, people went about their routines unaware that nature was gearing up to unleash its most brutal fury yet. The sky, a dull grey, hinted at the gathering menace far beyond the horizon, where Typhoon No. 3 and Typhoon Wipha converged like twin predators in a deadly dance. Suddenly, the calm shattered. Without warning, sheets of rain began to pour relentlessly, turning roads into rushing torrents. The wind howled with a savage intensity, ripping through trees and tearing at rooftops, but the storm's fury had just begun. From the ominous clouds above, hailstones larger than golf balls crashed down, smashing windows, denting cars, and sending people scrambling for shelter. In towns and cities, warnings blared across loudspeakers and mobile alerts, an urgent call to seek safety as the storms intensified. Yet for many, the warnings came too late. Streets quickly transformed into rivers, swallowing vehicles and homes alike. The rising waters cut off escape routes and isolated entire neighborhoods. As the storms battered the land, tornado sirens echoed ominously, signaling another deadly threat. Funnels of wind twisted through the tempest, ripping through anything in their path. The collision of these extreme weather events created a nightmarish scenario, a simultaneous assault of rain, wind, hail, and tornadoes, unlike anything the region had ever seen. Behind the scenes, emergency response teams scrambled to mobilize. Rescuers prepared to face the impossible, saving lives amid the relentless storm, battling against nature's wrath while racing against time. But the chaos was overwhelming. Power outages plunged entire cities into darkness. Communication lines faltered. Confusion and fear spread among the population. In this terrifying crucible, ordinary people found themselves thrust into extraordinary circumstances. Some became heroes, risking everything to help neighbours trapped by floodwaters or blown off rooftops. Others faced heartbreaking losses, clinging to hope as their world was torn apart. This was not just a storm. It was a catastrophic test of survival, resilience, and the will to endure. As the first waves of destruction began to wash over the land, one thing was certain: nothing would ever be the same again. The relentless deluge showed no mercy. Rivers, swollen beyond their banks, burst forth with devastating force, swallowing entire neighborhoods in a merciless embrace. Streets that once bustled with life were now perilous waterways, carrying debris and shattered dreams downstream. The rising floodwaters became an unforgiving enemy, cutting off escape routes and isolating communities in desperate need of help. Homes trembled under the pounding hail and howling winds. Roofs ripped away, windows shattered, and walls cracked, leaving families exposed to the elements. The air was thick with the deafening roar of nature's fury, a cacophony of thunder, crashing trees, and the anguished cries of those caught in the chaos. Bridges, those vital lifelines connecting communities, succumbed one by one. The unthinkable happened as steel and concrete gave way beneath the overwhelming force of the floods. The collapse was swift, brutal, sending dozens of people plummeting into the raging waters below. Panic surged as loved ones were swept away in an instant, swallowed by the unforgiving currents. Evacuations became a frantic scramble against time. Streets clogged with vehicles, families packed into hastily assembled shelters, and emergency personnel shouting over the din to coordinate rescue efforts. The human spirit was pushed to its limits, fighting fear and exhaustion while clinging to hope. Communication networks faltered, leaving many cut off and unaware of the storm's full scope. Misinformation spread like wildfire, fueling confusion and despair. Yet amid the chaos, pockets of resilience shone through. Neighbours helping neighbours, strangers sharing resources, and rescuers navigating impossible conditions to reach those stranded. As the storms raged on, the skies unleashed yet more destruction. Fierce hail battered rooftops and cars, while tornadoes carved devastating paths through already battered landscapes. The combined assault left destruction in its wake, collapsed buildings, uprooted trees, and a landscape forever altered. This was a disaster unlike any other, a brutal reminder of the raw power of nature and the fragile thread by which human lives hang. As darkness fell, the true scale of the catastrophe came into sharp focus. Rescue teams, clad in soaked gear and battling fatigue, plunged into the storm-ravaged landscapes. Their mission, to save those trapped by the relentless floodwaters, the shattered infrastructure, and the chaos left in the storm's wake. With roads washed away and bridges collapsed, traditional rescue methods faltered. Boats became lifelines, navigating the labyrinth of submerged streets and swirling currents. Helicopters hovered above, their searchlights piercing the murky night as crews spotted desperate figures clinging to rooftops, trees, and anything that offered a chance at survival. Every mission was a race against time and nature's fury. Torrential rain hammered down, hailstones shattered windows near the rescue zones, and howling winds threatened to overturn boats and helicopters alike. Yet, driven by an unyielding resolve, these heroes pressed on, their determination unwavering amid the chaos. Stories of courage emerged from the storm's heart. A group of volunteers braved the flooded streets to carry elderly neighbors to safety, wading through waist-deep water despite the risk of hidden debris and sudden currents. Firefighters and paramedics risked their lives repeatedly, pulling victims from cars swept off bridges or homes on the brink of collapse. But not all tales ended in salvation. Some rescues were heart-wrenching failures, with bodies lost to the unforgiving floodwaters or crushed beneath fallen debris. The emotional toll weighed heavily on the rescuers, their faces etched with exhaustion and sorrow. Meanwhile, emergency centers struggled to coordinate efforts amid communication blackouts. Satellite phones and radio transmissions became critical lifelines, linking teams scattered across the devastated regions. International aid was mobilized, but the scale of the disaster overwhelmed even the most prepared responders. As the storm's grip slowly loosened, the aftermath revealed a landscape scarred by destruction and a people forever changed. Yet within this devastation, the resilience of the human spirit shone brightest, a testament to courage, unity, and the fight to survive against all odds.